From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
Vicki.
Miss Vicki, we've got one of your favorites.
No.
He's driven with us. He's
Yep.
tested our cars for us.
Yep.
He has, I believe he was at the epic pit race where we had sun, rain, snow, hail.
All of it.
And that was all in about an hour.
It was during my stint.
That's
Oh, that's
right.
awful.
Mud. You forgot mud.
We did have mud. Yeah. And then I ran into a mudder, but that was a
So
different
much
story.
mud.
Different story. Some may know his voice. Some may know him from NASA Great Lakes, some as an instructor. Some may know him from NASA Great Lakes as the co-grand poobah for NASA TREC. And we just know him as an all-around good guy. Tim Fokine.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back. Thanks for the invite.
Never a problem. Never a problem. So Tim's driven with us. Well, not counting HPDEs and other fun things like that. Tim's driven with us several times for endurance racing, and then I've helped him out with some endurance racing, and he leads the NASA TREC endurance race. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about NASA TREC as compared to some of the other more traditional longer running endurance racing series. They can be whatever, and then who knows where we'll end up. So this is one of those, we're winging it and we're having a good time with a good friend. So,
Welcome, Tim.
Did I miss up the intro for you, sir? Anything I missed?
No, perfect.
All right, very well. All right, so Tim, a few years back, NASA came out with this TREC, TREC, endurance racing, and some of the different areas of the country have embraced it, and it seems to go pretty well. And some of them, I don't know if they can spell TREC or not. So you want to kind of go over what NASA TREC was, and
Sure.
currently turned into?
Right. So NASA, as a national organization, has the Western Race Endurance Challenge, or REC, right? Or WEC.
Sometimes you'll hear it as works.
Work, right? Yeah. So that's a pretty popular series out west, and endurance racing for NASA was not so popular in the Midwest and East Coast. So they decided to introduce an endurance series, but as a way for people to really kind of get the idea of what it feels like to race. So the TREC series was developed as a kind of a bridge between sprint racing and HPDE. In NASA, the requirements to TREC race this year changed, but it's still similar to what it's always been. Is an HPDE 3 or better student with a recommendation from the group leader and a TREC license, which is similar to what some of the other series ask you to do. They ask you to buy a license, and then you become a licensed TREC driver, as long as you can prove your racing ability or your driving ability. In NASA, it's through either being in the TREC program, or you have a comp license with another racing organization. It's not limited to HPDE students. In fact, that's where most people start, but then either get addicted to it and only do TREC, or do that while they continue to do HPDE and then go to comp school at some point in the year and then go on to sprint racing, which is fun. However, like me and you and Vicki, we've really fell in love with the idea of long stints.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Once I'm in,
So,
you're not getting me
yeah,
out. Yeah.
right. Get me out with a shoehorn and a bottle of water, please.
Yeah.
But no, it's a different kind of race. It becomes a very it's a thinking man's game. You have to strategize. You can't go out and run the car at 10 tenths from the first lap to the last lap and expect it. Well, you can try. Right?
Yeah.
You can try, but you better have a really, really, really strong car, and you better have a whole lot of faith in everybody else around you.
Sure.
The endurance races aren't won on the opening lap in turn one. Endurance races are won in 6-hour stints and or tranches of time. It becomes it's almost like you get into the groove as you're driving, and at about 45 minutes is when it happens for me. 45 minutes, and I get into the zone. And if I watch my lap times, man, my lap times go from pretty fast to really fast. And then when I'm getting close to the end of the stint, they're starting to fall off because my concentration is falling off. I'm tired. I'm hot. There's a lot more to it than just going out and giving it the beans.
When do you see yourself falling off?
Usually at about an hour and 20.
Okay.
That's the longest. Where I mean, that's not the longest I've done, but I mean, it's definitely where your performance is really deteriorating, especially if you're not wearing a cool suit. At least for me, that's where after an hour and 20 minutes in a car of concentrating and driving at a really fast pace around really fast cars, it can be at that point you're tired, and it can you have to recognize that if you don't, you put yourself in a really bad position, and those around you.
Do you see it as a more mental or more physical or both? Or
for me, it's physical. I'm not 20, but I'm also not.
Yeah, we're talking about not getting in and out of the car. We're talking about actual driving.
Right. Nice, Vicki. Nice. No, I think it's a physical. The act of driving is pretty physical. The act of driving a race car is very physical. And so even though you're strapped in and it's better than driving a car without a race seat, you still are, giving every effort that you have and using all of your concentration to put the car in the position and deal with traffic and manage all the things that you have to manage on a racetrack with other race cars around you going very fast. And that's fatiguing over time. And so that's why, I would say about the 1 hour 20-minute mark is really the appropriate time to kind of get out of the car. Hour and 30, it all depends, right? If you're a cardio beast, you can probably go out there and do much longer stints. I'm not a professional driver, although I stay in a Holiday Inn Express occasionally.
There you go.
Right.
It's I mean, if you just watch the Petit Le Mans, you have people doing triple stints.
Yeah.
That's a lot of driving. But if you look when they get out of the car, they're pencil thin and under 25 years old. So
and trained.
And trained, right. Yeah. So, this is a hobby, and this is a way to enjoy your hobby and a way to really enjoy a specific I guess a genre inside of racing, right? There's so many different things. You can sprint race, you can oval race, you can road race, you can endurance race, so all those things are just different kind of avenues. So this is the one I like the most.
Yeah. So let's just go back just a bit. You're saying an hour and a half, somewhere in there. Depends on the day, depends on the weather, right. and what happened the night before. We all know that. Um, just for those who aren't familiar, what car are you generally competing with? I know you usually drive with Glenn. Sometimes you lower yourself to driving with me and Glenn,
Right,
but
right. So predominantly in a Porsche 944. I've done
Oh.
yeah. I've done with you guys in a Civic. I don't think we've driven anything else together. I don't think we did a Miata, did we?
No,
No,
no. I
no.
remember you starting out in a Miata.
Yeah, I was a Miata guy for a long time. And I still have Miatas. I still like
Mhm.
them. They're fun to drive.
They're like Tic
Great car.
Tacs.
Yeah, yeah, they're great. They're great cars to learn the art in, to learn the
Mhm.
craft. If you can take a Miata and go really fast around the track, you're really driving well. And the skills that you can learn and translate from a Miata to almost every car.
I think the Miata it's just tighter in a good way. It's almost like you can learn your skills without having to worry about horsepower on top of it. It
Right, right,
so you really can move the car around and play with the car again without struggling with the power
right,
itself, which
right.
is its own beast
Yeah.
to
So,
to tackle.
it's a momentum car, and
Mhm.
if you lose your momentum, it's very difficult to get it back in a Miata.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have to learn how to manage that particular aspect of the performance of the car. And
Right.
so when you learn that and you get really good at that, you can really take that skill and get in any kind of car. And I've
Mhm.
driven lots of different kind of cars.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously a high horsepower car drives different than a Miata, but the basics are still the same and they still translate. And I just did a thing at work where we went to a track in Texas called Crescent Park, I think,
Mhm.
and it was a short, like 1.3 mile track. We did. They had all kinds of exotic cars, from high horsepower cars to GT3s to Audi R8s. Right. I drove an R8 and a GT3. Both of those cars would be considered really a momentum car. And of course, I turned a really, really fast time, like a super
Mhm.
fast.
Mhm.
And the people in the high horsepower cars were struggling because there were just not enough. There weren't enough straightaways to take advantage of those high
Yeah.
horsepower. You know, so you have to know where you're racing. You have to know where you're driving. In other words, the track and what the track is best suited for.
Mhm.
But I really like the Miata is good on anything. I mean,
Yeah.
and when you take a slow car and you can drive a slow car fast on the track, you become a good driver.
Mhm. Yeah, I was really surprised. We had taken out the Honda Fit, and they're not high power cars. They're really
No,
not. So
yeah,
you really have to take advantage of the track and you have to use the track. But uh it actually beat my time in the Miata, which was
isn't that
crazy,
isn't that fun?
because it
I
was
mean,
a
that's a
lower
blast.
horsepower car.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So yeah, I mean that's the funny part of it all is especially in a car like the Fit, right, where you put your foot on the gas and you don't let it up until they throw the checker flag. You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite forgiving. So,
Yeah.
how many other different types of cars have you endured in, just in general, without even
Um,
without us?
there's probably about three or maybe four. Not really that many different cars. I was in the 944, both mine and then Glenn's, for 2 seasons.
Yeah, what is
And
Glenn's?
Glenn's a 944
Okay, all right.
as well, right? He's got a really nice cream colored 944, and when I say cream, I know he's going to go. It is not cream.
It's off white. It's beige.
Yeah, it is actually beige. You're right. But it's some special Porsche color beige,
Right.
and that's and I've done your Civic. I think I mean I think I did a Civ. I thought I did Miata with you guys, but I guess not. Guess it was always the Civic.
I think maybe you might have borrowed our Miata at one
Okay.
point, but you didn't necessarily race it. Probably just one of the other events before Trek hit.
Right, right,
So,
right.
so what
But
is your standard car?
the standard car is the Porsche 944.
Okay, so you got a 944 thing going right now.
I do. I've got that, and I also have a Civic, an EG Civic that is really, really fast. Really, really fast.
Yeah.
It's got a K swap in it, and the thing is just. I bought it off a guy that time trialed it, and the thing is, it's so fast, it's scary.
Yeah.
We'll
right.
get there. We'll get there someday,
Yeah.
Tim. So one of the things I don't think we talked about with TREC was this is a potential path for people to get their racing license.
It is. The way NASA set it up, you could race TREC, and I forget what the number is. I think it's 6 races or 5 races.
I remember 4 or 5, but it could be 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a lot. It's a season, really.
It's not. It is. It's a season. If you have a season with no incidents, you will get a TREC license conveyed upon you from NASA, and you can ask for that. But now that's just a TREC license that you can't go out and sprint race with that. It's just to run in TREC. So, really, people use it as a stepping stone or a tool to prepare for sprint racing, because you get lots of time in the seat, and you can really, really, really put together some really good laps on tracks that maybe you're familiar with, maybe you're not, but you have a lot of time to get really, really good practice.
Right.
Lots of
so good.
Yeah, lots of seat time.
Exactly. I mean, that's one of the best things we like about endurance racing is you really can learn a track with one visit, just because you're going to get hours.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's a bang for your buck.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking, that pit race that we did that race at. I think that my stint was 2 hours. I think that was the longest.
2 hours. That's what we usually do.
And but it was cool. So it didn't, it wasn't that bad. But I can remember.
Come on.
I can remember. I can remember being done with that stint, going, "Is there any other kind of weather that maybe snow thunder?"
Right.
About it.
Oh my God.
Big hail balls was the only thing missing that weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. But
it was ice that was coming down and practically cutting your face, because it was jagged ice that was hitting you, that was blowing.
Yeah.
It was awful.
And then the mud that was getting thrown onto the track from all the offs was just amazing. At one point, just before the stint was over, I came in, Vicki. I don't know if you remember this, but I had to loosen my belts and drive with my head out the window because I couldn't see.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And we cleaned the window in the pit. It was horrible.
You could see the weather rolling towards you, because it would come in waves, and you could see the front that was coming. Is like, oh God, what's coming under this cloud front? Oh, good Lord.
That was like early April.
Big clods of mud coming up from the track onto the window.
Oh my gosh. And then it was mostly yellows. And as soon as the yellow would lift, somebody would end up in the mud again. And it start all over again.
It was horrible.
Well,
great weekend, though.
Once you went off, you didn't come back, except for the one guy that did in front of me, but that's a different story. Like, how did you come back out of the mud? But anyway, whatever. So TREC races last for roughly.
So we do in NASA Great Lakes, we do 2 different kinds. We do a 4-hour endurance, and we do a 6-hour endurance a couple times a year. So the 6-hour races are the longest ones that we run, and they're usually on a Friday afternoon, and they run from about 2:00 to, depending on the part of the year, from 2:00 to about 6 or 6:30.
Yeah.
And sometimes we run a little later on those long ones. we would run into the dark. So we'd have about an hour worth of dark driving,
Yeah.
which is
Ooh.
spectacular fun. I mean,
Oh,
just
is it?
amazing. Oh God, it's a ball. It's a
So
ball.
so your long race, I mean, one of the long races, you might have more than one. The one that I always see is at Gingerman on like around June 21st, longest day of the year kind of thing.
Yep. Yep. We've done a few like that. We did one at NCM. We did another at Autobahn. And then of course the Gingerman, which is the one we always do at 6 hours. And that's always a blast of a race.
So you're not, 100% lemons, because I would say your primary racing is with NASA Great Lakes. But I'm going to introduce you to something that happened at a lemons race that perhaps I think would be spectacular if you do a long endurance race at Gingerman. So they're at Thunder Hill and they're racing, and I believe it was an 8-hour race. So they're there, and then at 4 hours, they black flag all. Everyone goes into the pits, and then they run the track backwards for the next 4 hours. So perhaps we could do a 3 and 3 at Gingerman, front and back.
I have run Gingerman backwards.
As have I. That's why I say.
Which is a total hoot.
It is.
That seems like an equalizer.
I wouldn't want to do it in the dark.
No.
There's kind of swamp towards the end of one end, I think.
If you're going to go backwards, Gingerman is so much fun backwards.
It is. And it took, I remember the first time I did it, everybody on the out lap was pretty apprehensive. By the second or third lap, it was full send. Everybody was.
But the turns are
all in.
The turns are nothing like you think. You're like, oh, it's just 10 backwards. No big deal. I know what that's going to be. Then you do it and you're like, that was nothing like I thought.
Nothing. That's absolutely nothing like what I expected.
No.
And the curbing is all in the wrong spot.
That's okay. That's okay. So I'm just saying, if you were the leader of the TREC organization, this might be something to think about.
I'll definitely put it in the suggestion box. I don't know if I'll get laughed at or praised as a hero.
Well, I mean, we'll know if it was good if you do it twice, right?
That's right.
So TREC wise, you've run with us in Lemons. We've got some plans for some future growth, but you've run with us in Lemons. You've run with us in TREC. Well, we've run with you actually in TREC. How would you compare the two, like differences and similarities? And
so the Lemons racing, their car counts are much higher. At NASA Great Lakes, we usually range between 20, and the highest we've ever had was I think 38 cars. And so that's not a lot of cars for an endurance race where, Lemons, there's 80, 110. Of course, there's lots of dropouts during the day, day one, and then day two, it really does thin out. But I'd say that the difference is that the equipment that people are TREC racing is far and away different than the equipment that people are Lemons racing in, right? That's the theme. Lemons racing is bring your hoopty and run it kind of thing. And of course there are the cheaters and the motors and the suspensions and the add-ons for the body and all that.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tim.
No, well, I say cheaters, I don't mean individuals. I mean those that are trying really hard, which is all that you can do.
That's it.
I've never experienced this, Tim. Perhaps you were at a different race. Maybe it was
right. When you see a fire-breathing sedan DeVille go down the track at 180,000 miles an hour,
with chandeliers on the front end.
Right. You're just in awe at the imagination and the and
stupidity.
Well,
Some of it.
Not my word, yours. But
the creative stupidity.
That's what the creativity of those individuals is just boundless, and that is really fun to watch, and it's really, really fun to be a part of.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the atmosphere at a Lemons race, bar none, is far and away the most fun you can have at a racing weekend. The people are open, they're friendly, they're helpful, and really, really good natured. Not unlike most racetracks, right? People are friendly, helpful, and good natured at most racetracks because it's what we all do, right? It becomes so much fun that you want to help somebody get out there and do it. You want to help them get to, if they have a broken car, get back on the track. That's the goal, right? The more people on the track with you, the more fun it is. So, contrasting Lemons to TREC, I would say the biggest difference is the equipment. The cars that are being brought to TREC are full on, full time, really, really nice race cars. Versus, a group of friends putting together a race car for a Lemons race that may only race one event. The goal is to get to the race and finish the race and everybody have a great time. I will say that the biggest surprise for me when I Lemon raced was the quality of the drivers. I thought my initial feeling was going to be there's going to be a lot of really bad drivers, and there are some that are maybe out of their element, but I was really pleased with the level of driving and the skill that I saw on the track at the Lemons races I've run with you. And that was a pleasant surprise. That was a pleasant surprise.
So I guess the follow-up question would be, would a Lemons experienced racer, most of them, the center of the bell curve, would they be intimidated or out of place at a TREC race?
Absolutely not. We have had Lemons cars come to NASA Great Lakes and run successfully. They've placed in category or class, right? So it's not that they're not welcome. It's just that there's a different atmosphere, and maybe that's not a good thing for TREC, right? We want those people. We want those cars to come. They have to pass tech, right? But just like you would at a Lemons race. But that's the largest difference is that we're seeing dedicated race cars that are built specifically for the TREC series, or people that are racing their sprint race car in a TREC series, and really putting their equipment to the challenge, to the test, and challenging themselves as well in a different way. I'd love to see some higher car counts. I'd love to see some folks that do Lemons come out and TREC race with us, because I think they'd be surprised. I think they would be surprised as to just how well they can drive. Maybe there's a perception that NASA is just kind of a different organization, and they're real serious racers or whatever. We're just as fun, just as open, and just as willing to have a Lemons race or racer there as we would to have somebody with a GT3. I mean, it would make absolutely no difference. In fact, it'd make the race even more fun.
So for TREC racing, like you had just mentioned, you just have to pass tech, or somebody could just kind of come in, because I'm sure they just don't want anybody on the track, because we're not talking about beaters. We're talking about some of these people. These are their daily drivers, and some of these are carted, cars coming in. So you don't want to wreck them.
Right. So for TREC, it has to be a race car. In other words, it has to be caged, it has to have a fire suppression system, it has to have safety belts and harnesses. Okay. You know what I mean? It is, there are no, initially there were thoughts that would happen, but I guess for insurance reasons and for maybe other reasons that I'm not aware of, that we do not allow non-prepped race cars to race in TREC.
That's good.
Your car must be prepped, and it has to get a tech sticker. So if you participate in a Lemons, format, you would have to get the car teched at NASA, and you would have to get approval from the director to even register for the race. Of course, you'd have to join
At
NASA.
TREC.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
You'd have to join NASA as well.
Right.
So it's no small commitment, and it's it's a little bit of a financial hit too. But it's certainly in the grand scheme of things, it's certainly the least expensive of all of the endurance series to race at NASA. So I mean, the TREC program at NASA, relatively speaking, is a bargain for compared to some of the other series. Just it's a shorter race. It's a 1-day event. It's definitely a more economical way to go out and do more than a sprint race.
Right. Now, do you have to partake in the other things from NASA Great Lakes, or can you just show up and just race the TREC?
So you don't have to do anything other than, if you register for the race, it comes with an afternoon or a morning, of test and tunes.
Okay.
So you have a series of 20-minute test and tune periods on the track, usually 3 or 4 for the day. And so you get that with the fee for the TREC race. So you get that plus the TREC race. So 3 or 4 20-minute sessions, and then a 4-hour or a 6-hour race for the one fee. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good way to get a full day's worth of driving in.
Yeah.
And really, kind of do it in an economical way. It's not the barrier to entry isn't the fee. The barrier to entry is your equipment, and your ability to prove your racing ability. So you would have to be approved by the race director in order to participate.
Right.
So if you said, hey, listen, I'm a Lemons racer with I've raced 22 Lemons races, we would open arms, welcome you.
Right.
If you said, hey, I'm a Lemons racer with or I'm a racer from another series with one race, that we might look at something a little more closely.
Right.
It's one of those things where we don't want to put you out there with those people, because it's mixed class racing, just like any other endurance racing. And so there are some really fast cars out there. And, if you're not ready for that put you in a really bad position really quick. So, we don't want anybody to get hurt. We want everybody to go home with what they bring, and we want everybody to go home safely. So, we don't, it's not an open invitation to come out and try it. And it's certainly not the place to just say, I think I want an endurance race. I'm going to try this out. This is something you build up to. This is not a novice program. This is definitely an advanced and better drivers program.
Right.
But at the same time, taking the center of a Lemons field or center of the other endurance racing fields, you've done a few of these, you know your way around. Great way to practice. Great way to get some track time, even if you're just shaking your car down, whatever.
Yeah.
And you get some good competition with some other drivers, and there's a bunch of cars out there that you'll have somebody to play with for sure.
Yeah.
All day.
And all day.
And you're gonna make fast friends with those people. You'll be out there. You'll be in the pits with them. The one thing we do at NASA that's a little different than Lemons is because of the size of the field, we actually set up pit boxes. And so the majority of the time that you're racing is spent in the pit box if you're not in the car. People are really serious about how they do it. There's radios involved, and there's strategy and pit stops, and all with an eye on safety, but there really is a lot of time. Whereas the lemons, you kind of set up your pit box when you're going to make a pit stop. You don't really sit on your pit box all day. You just kind of go to the pits when it's time for your driver change or whatever.
Right.
That's a little bit.
Do they do any education on that pit strategy?
We do. We talk a little bit about it in the drivers' meeting. The pit stops are all timed, so and it's a way for us to level the playing field, and it's also a way for us to ensure that safety isn't compromised.
Right.
So every stop that you make as a fuel stop is timed at 5 minutes. So you can put as much gas as you can, and two cans of gas in the car at a time, but you can't spill it, right? So if you spill it, you have to have a catch can. So what we do is in order to slow things down, and in order to kind of avoid people rushing with gasoline, hot brakes, and other cars around them, every car that stops for a pit stop is a 5-minute stop. So it really does enhance the way the pit stops are handled. There's everybody in the pit has a fire suit on. Everybody over the wall has a fire suit, a helmet, and gloves, just like a driver would. There's fire extinguishers. There's, it's not a single guy or a single party effort. You have to come with a few people. And if you come by yourself and you still want to run, then you're going to have to talk to somebody in the pits and say, can you help me pit? Can you help me fuel? Will you hold my fire bottle while I fuel my car? It's definitely not a solo effort. It's a team, and that's what TREC stands for, right? Team Race Endurance Challenge, right? It's definitely a team effort.
So, how much are you allowed to do in the hot pit?
So you can change one tire.
Oh, you're allowed to do that in the hot pit.
Only one.
Okay.
And you can add gas. You can work on your car.
Really?
Yep.
When all the other cars are going in and out.
Yes. Yes.
That's frightening.
It's exciting.
But it is exciting. It is exciting.
So I wouldn't say that you're going to do major mechanical work, because most people understand that you do more work up in the paddock than you would
right
there in the hot pit. But we've done things like change items, or check oils and things like that. The tires, the series is you can only change one tire for the whole race. So you don't see a whole lot of tire changes, unless you actually have one go bad, or that kind of thing. But you could jack the car up. You could do whatever you want. I mean, you really could. You could. In the 2 or 3 years that I've been doing it, I can't remember anybody really working, like really wrenching on the car in the hot pits.
Right.
I mean, people are working on it, but they're just not. They'll drive it back to the paddock where they can take the car, put it up on jack stands, and really get up underneath it if they have to.
Indeed.
Captain's log supplemental.
So, Bill, guess what?
What?
We did the Sentinel. We did the Sentinel.
We did.
How
did you like it?
You know what? We were talking about the Sentinel.
We have.
It was great. We understood watching how the Sentinel works, but we finally got it into our car, and I got to tell you, that was really awesome. I was able to see every one of my mistakes.
We have hours of them.
We have hours of my mistakes, but we have hours of good stuff too, which is awesome. It actually showed us the speed. Did it show us where we were on track?
We were streaming it
We were streaming it live.
We're boring billions of people across the world.
But it was pretty incredible. Plus, on it, you're able to put your insignia, your logos on your app also, and the clarity was amazing. It was really easy to put in, easier than I thought it was.
I know you kept making a big deal out of it. I'm like, it's really not that hard. it
actually,
until we focused on it. It wasn't too bad. And then we got some help.
no,
It was pretty
yeah,
easy.
it was. It was pretty good.
You know what? I like the stream because some of the tracks we go to don't have great cell phone coverage, but it's got
Mhm,
a USB stick backup. So I
mhm,
just uploaded the high quality video without the cellular interruption. So
mhm.
if you watched us earlier and said, "Wow, they got from there to there really quickly," you can watch the real video and see that no, we didn't. It's just a cell phone went out.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. So the learning curve for me, obviously, I'm slightly techno Amish.
slightly.
What slightly when it comes to the wiring and stuff like that, but we get it in, and I love it. We were able to sit there right at the track and watch what we were doing in the car, and that
Yeah.
was amazing.
Which was good because if you have a problem with your radio, you can tell, if something is going on that you need to know about. Like
Hmm.
a couple times we've had cars come in and we didn't know they were broken. I know it's hard to imagine one of our cars being broken, but whatever. But you can watch the video, and even with the cell phone coverage we had at that particular event, it was like a 30-second delay, so it wasn't bad.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you can compare multiple drivers because you have each of the stints are broken up. So we got to work on not only our driving, but if we wanted to, we could work on our pit stops and see exactly what we do. And there's some things that we need to talk about as a team. And it was pretty good. Like I said, it takes me, once we got the wiring hooked up for the power, I probably could go from an empty shell to a full up setup running Sentinel. I could probably do that in like 20 minutes.
Hmm.
So you could literally install it in a car before a race. It's kind of fun.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we got
When,
to see the driver and the front windshield. And if
yep.
we want to, we can have three. We can see backwards. Or one of the guys we were going to work with at the upcoming event, he said, could you put a camera on the driver's eyes so we could see what they're looking at?
Hmm.
I said, why, yes, I can. Haven't done it yet, but I'll figure it out. I've got time.
Well, I love it.
All right, very well. That sounds like I can buy another one then. Woo! So do you have any races coming up this year, or are you done?
We're done. NASA Great Lakes has one more, and they are at Ozarks on the first weekend of November.
Could you go any
And
further from us, Tim? Could you go any further?
So we're done. But the series does have one more race, and but we have some work commitments and some family commitments and things like that. So we're just not going to be able to run that race this year.
Well, that's a bummer.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
So the way I look at this, let's say you got somebody they've got an impression like NASA, oh, they're snooty, or they're very clicky and restrictive. This would be a great way to come in, dip your toe, find out that's not the case, and get some good racing in.
Absolutely. And that was the reason the series was developed, Bill. It was, endurance racing is becoming more and more popular in this country. And without a series, NASA was probably, feeling like they were missing a piece of the industry, right? So they developed the TREC series. And the ultimate goal is to develop it into a standalone kind of a weekend over time. Right? That's the goal. Increase the car counts, increase the frequency of the races.
Right.
Even though we do it once a month or twice a month, we could, if the car counts were there, we could have a standalone endurance
Right.
week or weekend.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately the goal.
So speaking as a representative of NASA Great Lakes TREC, if people wanted to race with NASA Great Lakes TREC, what kind of tracks could they go to? Is there like some cool tracks that you guys go to?
We race at Mid Ohio, Pit Race, Autobahn Country Club in Joliet, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
We race at NCM in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Gingerman in South Haven, Michigan. Help me out. What am I missing?
Ozarks.
Ozarks. Thank you.
Mhm.
I heard rumors that you did Road America once or twice.
At one time they did, and we haven't in a while. But
Pit
there's
race.
Pit race we talked about. So there's a handful. I mean, NASA does tracks across the country. NASA Great Lakes is really concentrated in the middle part of the country. Just like the name says, in the Great Lakes region. But we go as far up as Michigan, and as far east as Pittsburgh, as far west as Ozarks, as far south as Bowling Green.
Yeah. So I'm going to try this one more time. Just one more time. This is attempt number 3. So if I were to speak as an instructor, for instance, at an event, I would love to go do my TREC race on Friday and get all my driving out and then focus on my student for the entire weekend. I think that's the ideal way to structure a weekend. I think, just.
So funny you say that, because great minds think alike, right? That's precisely what I do. I'm a full-time instructor with NASA Great Lakes. I've helped develop the instructor program. We're a MSF level 2 organization, so all of our instructors are now MSF level 2 instructors. With some other really cool things about to happen in the MSF world, by the way. And so you should probably get
MSF.
Yeah, the Motorsports Safety Foundation.
Okay.
The thing that you're going to take level 1 in this year.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to make yourself a better instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does help with a lot of tips and tricks. Gives you it's so everybody goes to the track as an instructor with the toolbox or tool bag,
Mm-hmm.
right? An MSF rating or an MSF certification really puts some specific tools in your toolbox that you maybe didn't know about, and it really does raise the bar for instructors.
Well, what is it about?
So it's we talk a lot about the instructor student role. We talk about the relationship and how to communicate. We talk about hand signals. We talk about just being a better instructor by maybe not doing some things, right? We talk about interviews and how to assess your student as soon as you meet them.
Okay.
So
Even pre-track.
You can compartmentalize your student to figure out what style you need to instruct them with.
Yeah. So there's a lot of high level thought behind the program. There are lots of scenarios that you have to teach in. There's different kinds of driving styles that you would be exposed to in an MSF level 2 weekend, and it makes good instructors great, and it makes great instructors fantastic.
Ooh.
And it's fun.
And it is fun. It is lots of fun. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
10 out of 10. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a shame that that TREX doesn't, NASA doesn't do a very basic car clinic for maintenance.
I don't know that anybody does that, to be honest.
Oh.
That'd be a good idea. But that's
just
the kind of stuff.
Just like like when you were talking about it, it was like track emergency.
Yeah.
What are your, like, maybe there's a section where people could take their cars and you get quick lessons on how to work on your cars, because there's some of us who are learning.
Right.
But
I won't be an instructor there, that's for sure.
No. So, but okay, so when you're racing in TREC, how many racing classes are competing?
So,
or do you have racing classes?
Yeah. So NASA Great Lakes, there's 4 classes, actually 5 classes. There's TU, which is unlimited, and the unlimited class does not race for trophies, just because it's those are those fire breathing GTRs and just 1,000 horsepower car that's out there just slaying it and
Slay. Look at you.
yeah.
Look at
And
you using the
so
lingo.
those cars are out there purely for fun and for personal bests, right?
Mhm.
And maybe some traffic management practice and things like that. T1 is a one group, T2, T3, and T4. So specifically, the 944 would fall into T4, which is the lowest horsepower or momentum car there is. And it's based on loosely on what the car would do as a stock performance car. And then as the race progresses, we look at times and we reclass the cars. So you could start in T2 and find yourself in maybe a T4 race. During the race, you'd be notified, hey, your times are really, really slow. So we're going to move you down to T4. It's a little bit more competitive down there for you.
Right.
So, but we've had the luxury of seeing the same faces and drivers and cars for a while now. So we're able to class those cars pretty competitively based on tribal knowledge, if you will, based on seeing what they've done in the past and understanding how they're going to perform in a race or a specific track.
Right.
So speaking of competitive, I believe you collected some hardware this year, sir.
Yeah, we did a few a few podiums. We did pretty well. It's a points race, so we're not going to be able to finish the season with the same result that we had last season, but it's good because there's lots of competition. So makes you want to come back and race harder. We fought a lot of mechanical issues this year, which was uncharacteristic for our car. So we had a couple of DNFs and a couple of
DNFs
did not finish.
Okay.
And we had a couple of instances where we had to take the car off the track and for several hours or some big amount of time and work on it. So it was unusual for us this season to not finish a race. Or to not finish races. That was kind of what was going on for the season. We had a lot of mechanical issues with the car. Despite that, we still had several podiums, and we're really proud of the effort that we put in this year. In spite of the mechanical challenges that we faced, almost on every race, just about.
Damn. But being that you're an award-winning instructor, TREC race class champion, co-director of TREC racing, I thought I'd talk to you about a certain plan that we have going forward next year that was delayed from this year.
It was.
So Mr. Fokine, are you still making bad decisions and willing to do this one lap of America thing with me this year?
Yes, sir.
Oh, very well. So, the rumor is it's not going to have a Sunday Cup class this year, which I'm very disappointed in.
Yeah, that is disappointing. That is disappointing. But we can probably figure out something else to do it in.
Well, I thought we'd take a little bit of time to figure that out while we're here.
So what they pulled the Sunday Cup class?
Well, we're not sure there's going to be a Sunday Cup class, and if we're going to go in a Sunday Cup car, I'd like to have more than one of us because, let's put it bluntly, we're the slowest thing out there, so I don't want to be by myself slow.
Well, I mean,
slowest.
You could surprise yourself.
Yeah, we'd come in slowest. So what should we do, Tim?
Well, you've got a really, really nice BMW that I would love to take.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's got to be street legal. That's our problem.
Wait a minute. You got the other BMW, the M3.
Yeah, we do have an M3.
Yeah, that's coming out of the shop.
That's true.
That would be, that would be an amazing, fun time in a BMW.
Okay.
But let's keep our fingers crossed for a Sunday Cup event,
That would be
because that would just be a total blast.
fun. Mm-hmm.
That would be a
Indeed.
total blast.
So I don't know about you, but I have everything packed from my last year's entry still packed. I have two totes ready to go.
It was funny, as we got closer to the date, my hoard of items to bring got closer to the door.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So my race suit, my fire suit, my shoes, everything was getting packed up, and I actually streamlined the radio setup so that we could have a small, just a 3 radio setup, and it was I had it all ready to go. It was right by the door.
Oh, we were almost there.
Yeah.
No, we were busy. We were welding. We had so much going on.
I know. Well, best laid plans of mice and men, right?
Right.
Yeah, we got laid out. So, but it's back. We're gonna have to start making some plans. But you know what, Mr. Fokine?
It would have to be, like I said, either take the red car, or my nomination be that the black BMW, the older one that's coming out.
She's holding.
You got a Miata you want to do it in?
She's holding out.
You'd have to have a cart to carry all your junk in.
She's holding out, Tim.
Support truck, right?
That's right.
Luggage.
She's holding out on you, Tim. There's another car we could use.
Oh.
What?
What are we talking about?
Mini Cooper?
No. Acura Integra Type S.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Vicky's like, no, stop talking.
That's my car.
Listen,
that would be interesting to try.
Right?
That would be interesting.
We do
a little bit of time.
I guess, would that be a fair entry, though?
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Sweetie, it's going to be on the slowest. I don't know what
the entries are.
It's going to be on the slowest side.
Oh.
But at least there would be other cars there. But
I sincerely hope they don't do away with the Sunday Cup class, because that seemed like it was really catching on and growing. So that would have been a really fun time.
Well, I am very close to texting 2 of our friends to find out what the status is, but their lives have been very busy, so I will give them a few more weeks. We've got time. It's only
we have time. Yeah.
We're in October. We have till May, so
Yeah.
But me, my inner planner is looking to start prepping.
So the NASA Great Lakes season starts in March, Bill. Just saying.
I'll be there.
She will
be. Are you coming? Good.
Yeah, I am.
You didn't.
It's my year.
You didn't hear the transition.
No,
Miss Vicki.
No. This upcoming year is going to be my year.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll be out there hauling my car, catching up with you and Kim Coffee, and now Chris.
Oh yeah.
And Jennifer's joining me too.
That's right.
Oh, you guys are going to have a blast.
Yes, so we're
I hear rumblings of an all-girl Trek team next year. It sounds like the women that you just mentioned and several others might be the team, and I really hope so, because those ladies are so much fun, and Chris is wicked fast.
Yeah.
Wicked fast.
Well, like I said, I'm level 3, but I am going to enter level 3 in Great Lakes. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though I am level 3, but
level 3 is so much fun though.
I know. I'm going to be level 3ing it. I'll finish off in level 2 just for some laps, and then I'll run with them, and then just jump over to level 3. Just jump into level 3, huh?
Just jump in.
You'll be fine.
Jump in. Yeah, I mean, Vicki, I don't have any reservations with you going straight to 3. I don't make those decisions, but
she's in 3 at Northeast.
Yeah,
she's good. Then I would say stay in 3.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in 3. Just I don't think. I mean, you've driven on most of the tracks that we drive on, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
all of them?
Just
Not all of them, but
no.
almost all of them. She hasn't done NCM and
I
Ozarks.
haven't done. Yeah.
She's done the
So
rest
the
of them.
NCM is probably one of my NCM and Pit Race and Mid Ohio are my favorite tracks.
Mhm.
I have to be, and Mid Ohio is going to be repaved this fall,
Mhm.
so there's going to be some real fun racing happening next year in Mid Ohio.
That's going to be great.
It's good.
Won't be an ice rink.
No, it won't be an ice rink anymore. That's the key. That's I mean, there's going to be grip everywhere, and I would anticipate that track records are going to fall left, right, and center.
Hmm.
You know, it's going to be an amazing thing. You know, the weather doesn't change. It's still going to be, you know, snowing in May in Ohio, but
Right.
um,
Yeah.
but
So
it's you know it'll be a good time this year. That track will be a whole different experience next year.
Indeed. So
we're very excited.
I'm excited. I'm glad to hear. So you're gonna be out and about doing it, huh?
yep.
Yeah, Bill's gonna take care of the teen home front, and
Got it.
then I'll just drive out. I'm not sure what I'm driving out with yet.
So I just
I got
bought a
some
new
ideas.
trailer, new to me trailer. So
Oh, that's good.
you'll have to park by us, and you know it's got plenty of room to relax and you know pop a little seat whenever you need to.
Yeah.
This big long red trailer I bought.
Mhm.
Found
How long?
42 feet.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
She might just bring a car for leaving with you, Tim.
Yeah.
It's got living quarters in the front, so that's really what was the driving force behind me getting it. Is
Yeah.
you know, I really enjoy that aspect of the weekend. So
I started traveling with a cot.
yeah,
I throw a cot in mine.
yep,
Just a little nap. I could take the little heater if I need it.
yep, that's
A little
right.
propane heater, and I'll be good.
I don't know. It's been this year. We had some wild weather in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
It was really uncomfortable cold, and I'm glad the summer shaped up nicely for everybody. But we had some really bad weather this season, and it was cold. It was really cold.
Yeah, we have a new to us trailer that'll be going out, which includes a winch now,
Right.
and it has power if I
Yep.
need it.
Yeah,
So
that's
we got to
new
get
me.
all that running.
Yeah, new to me as well. My trailer's
Yeah.
not new to me.
Yeah.
And it's in fantastic shape. So I'm really excited to get it out there and figure out how it works.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, we're redoing ours up a little bit, but it'll be great.
It will
Familiar
be.
with all of that. Of
That'll
course,
be
I do
fun.
need to figure out how to use a winch.
It's easy. You push a button.
Okay.
Right. It's got the in button and the out button.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll need to do that, but
We'll get you tutorialed up. By the end of the season,
Since the prior
you'll be a
trailer
pro.
owner is a NASA Great Lakes instructor, I'm pretty sure you can get a
yeah.
rundown.
That's my thing though, is I like to walk around and see what everybody else has done with their trailers.
Yep.
Because I want to see, you know, we need to get on that properly storing a trailer, properly loading a trailer.
Yeah.
The enclosed. That's still tricky for us.
Waiting
Yeah.
for
Well,
yes.
with the winch, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know, with the winch, because even on my open trailers, I've had a winch since I started, and gosh, it makes loading the car by yourself super simple.
Yeah.
Super simple.
That's my
Yeah,
biggest
I never
task.
thought about that.
Yep.
Just let it
There's
roll on.
there's certain cars you can't get out of.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, but it makes the loading and unloading really nice, really nice. Especially if you're, you know, on your own, or maybe, you know, just somebody that's not really used to doing that kind of stuff. It makes the job so much easier.
That sounds like an early spring project, Bill.
I'm already on it.
Yeah.
So what do you guys have planned for the off season?
Well, my son's car since he got caught in a flash flood, but it was the black 86 Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, that we know so far, it was only water only got in through the intake.
Okay.
And so his electrical system is all up underneath the seat, both seats, and water did not enter the car. So we're thinking that the electrical system is fine. So he did hydro-seize the engine. Bill got a new engine. It's got about 60K on it.
Hydrolock.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a hydrolock. He hydrolocked the engine. And he ended up getting caught in rush hour. So, and there was he was just saying there's more water. So there was more in front of there was more behind me than it was in front of me. He says, but he just couldn't get out of traffic, and he didn't. Where he left, it wasn't raining. So when he entered into our town, he got caught in the flash flood.
Wow.
So we're going to be replacing that engine. Right now, we are building the new engine to put into the Mustang. This will be the second engine that I helped put together.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So learning a lot. Fortunately, when we start doing Liam's engine, that's just going to be a pull and a drop in because everything's already done.
Right.
So that'll be a whole lot easier. So that's going to be the off-season project. And then neatening up all the other cars because all the other cars are okay.
Yep.
The Civic will probably have to get its consumables looked at. And I think that's it. It's going to be an easy season. I'd like to see if we could do some work on the trailer, which would be great.
Make it so I can move it, and that was my plan.
Yeah.
We
There you go.
We just blew a fuse on it. So blew on the pump part
The
on
jack.
the jack.
Yep.
But we got to get that because that's where my son's car is loaded.
Oh, jeez.
I know.
Always
Yeah,
something.
but then the 86, but the thing is that the 86 still has equity in it. So it's better for us to replace the engine, and then when he's ready to get rid of it, I think we should buy it off of him.
Right. Yeah.
And then flip it into a race car.
It's a great race car. I don't know if Tim, you've seen me race it. I don't think you ever drove it though.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever driven it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll fix that.
I did see you try. I did see you race it.
Yeah.
You know what, Miss Vicki?
Yes.
We've taken up most of Tim's time, but
Yes, we have.
You know what we haven't done?
I think we've done these already.
We have not. I've been checking in the background. Tim, we are going to subject you to even more Fast and Furious storytime questions.
Have you done those yet?
He's done some. I've pulled them out.
Oh.
I pulled them out.
Okay.
So, Tim, dream car to build a race car from?
It changes weekly.
I know. Well, this week on Tim Fokine.
Yeah. Porsche Cayman.
Ooh, I'm with you there. I want one.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how much trouble I get in with Miss Vicki if I buy one.
You can't buy any more cars.
How many do I have to get rid of to buy one?
All of them.
You start with some of the B spec. We have a lot.
Yeah.
My husband has a shopping problem.
I don't have a shopping problem. I have a selling problem. My shopping is perfect.
Right. It's the other side of it, right?
So, what is one thing that no one knows about you that would surprise them?
Oh gosh, that nobody knows that.
Few people.
I don't know. Gosh.
How about a few people?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know. I mean, there's nothing around that interesting, I don't think.
I know that you're a pilot.
Well, I guess, yeah. I don't run around telling people that, I guess.
I know, but that's kind of cool. That's cool.
Not until he lands at our airport. I'm not calling it cool.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
he lands at our airport, then it's
that's
cool.
true, right?
That's right. All right, Mr. Fokine. Your most memorable car breakdown or accident on road or track?
On track, it was my first season in HPDE 2.
Mm-hmm. I think I was there.
You might have been.
I think I was.
You might have been, and I was at it was at Mid Ohio, and I went over the top of Madness,
Mm-hmm.
went off the track, and just wiped out the front right side of the car, including the tie rod and the oh gosh, it was just, I mean, everything. The tie rod, the A arms, the everything.
Right.
And the Midwest Miata guys rallied around me and dropped a milk crate full of car parts and off to me. And I actually put the car together with those parts and some help from some friends, including Doug Goodman.
Yep.
Doug Goodman. That's how I met you.
That's right. That's right.
That's exactly how you and Reese walked in on us trying to help him.
So we I put the car back together with Doug's help. Doug held the flashlight for me. Right? We were literally,
because you are now at dark time. It was now nighttime.
Yeah. And I actually got the car put back together in time to be on grid at 8 a.m. the next morning.
See, you're a rock star.
And I drove it with that alignment. I used some toe plates. I drove it with that alignment until I stopped driving the car. It was straight as a pin. It came out. So I was most memorable because it was probably one of the stupidest things that I've done in a car. I just went over the top fast, and I knew I shouldn't have been out there. And then, I tore up the car and then put it back together. And it really made me feel like I had grown because I broke it. I did something stupid. I broke it. I fixed it, and I drove it, and I was better the next day for it.
Did you high five yourself?
Secretly.
after giving himself the finger the day before. Yeah. So I think, if I remember right, I think that was the event where we met the first time.
It could have been.
I think it
could have been because it was early on.
It was early.
In my HPDE, driving career, it was. I mean, I had probably just went from like 1 to 2.
That was my first 2. Same.
And it was. I was pushing really hard because I wanted to get better, and I, whenever you get like that, whenever you push like that, and you pushing is one thing. Pushing without skill is a whole nother.
Yeah.
Yep.
You make stupid mistakes.
Indeed.
So, what is your favorite track to race on?
I love pit race. I love Mid Ohio. I really, really enjoy Mid Ohio. But I would say it's probably a toss up between pit race and NCM.
I haven't been to NCM yet. NCM just sounds like it is very mentally exhausting to race.
So it's like 22 turns and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
You have to do, in order to go as a new track, you have to do a little bit of track preparation. You've got to do some.
That's not going to happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's how I did it, right? And of course, that was the very first track I ever drove on, ever.
Really?
That's
a deep end, buddy.
Yeah. You go big or go home, right? But and I drove it, I think twice that year, or maybe 3 times. I can't remember, but what I did was I watched videos, and I was making track maps like a maniac. And I would draw all over the track map, and I'd come out of a HPDE session and I would make marks and write stuff down. And I really developed like the ability to like survey the track. And I did every track walk that was available. I went out and did it. And so, I attacked it 3 corners at a time. So, there's 22 or 21 turns, right? There's no way you're going to go out in a weekend and just crush it without preparation. So you had to do it at like 3 turns at a time. And, you work on those 3. And then when you feel really good about those 3, you move on to the next 3. And that's the way I prepared. That's the way I did it. And now it's one of my favorite tracks to drive.
So the thing I don't like about it is everything looks the same.
It is devoid of some really big landmarks, but they're there. They're there.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to go back. I think I went there. I've only been there twice, and it's always the crossover event. And it always seems to be raining.
Yeah.
So it's an uncomfortable feeling when you're on a track like that with other people you don't know in rain. Right. So anyway.
Right. But it's, it's fast. It's really fast. It's really technical. It's really technical. And when it's great, when the weather's good and the conditions are great, it's amazing. It's really grippy. There's grip everywhere.
I haven't seen that.
It's really good. Now, the last time, one of the last times I drove it, it was raining, and I mean, it was raining cats and dogs. And in fact, during the race, a car passed me on the back straight, and the water from the wheel wells of the car went straight into the window of my car.
Well, you look thirsty, Tim. You look like you could use a little drink.
I took my race suit and squeegeed off my visor.
Exactly. Well, we'll get there. All right, Tim. I'm gonna get you in trouble with this one.
All right.
It could be the perfect HPDE or the perfect track day. What track you going to? What car are you in? And who's your instructor or coach?
I'd say a late summer track day at pit race with my good friend Glenn Robinson as my instructor, because when we drive together, we giggle so hard.
That sounds like fun. And I think he knows pit race a little bit.
He does. And but we have had several occasions there, both to either drive together in the same car or drive in tandem with the same type of car. And we have had just a blast there. So I'd say if I could revisit a moment, that'd be the one.
Okay. Miss Vicki, your last one?
Yeah. Tell me a great story from your first time on the track.
So again, NCM, and it was a really cold weekend, really cold weekend, beginning of, end of March, beginning of the season. My instructor, was amazing. I didn't know what to expect. I showed up with a Miata. I didn't know what to do, what not to do, or what, I didn't know anything about it. I just knew that I wanted to go out and try this. So, and Reese actually surprised and drove down from college with me, my son Reese. So it was a really good kind of a father-son weekend. And it was just the experience of or the process of experiencing something that you had always wanted to do forever. For the very first time, kind of, checking off the bucket list thing, like drive a car on a racetrack really fast. Well, I thought I was going really fast.
It was fast at the time.
Right. Speed of heat in the Miata, but it was something that I'll never forget because it was so enjoyable, and my instructor did a great job making me feel at home and comfortable, and so did all the other NASA people, and that's why I've stayed at NASA. It's become a core group of my friends in my life that I enjoy spending a weekend out of the month every summer with.
Yep. All right, I've got one last one, and I can't decide. So, Tim, you get to choose. Do you want a fluffy one, or do you want a semi-serious one?
Semi-serious.
Okay. As far as driving and racing, what is something you're relatively good at? What needs a bit of work or focus? And what's the biggest area for you to improve?
Oh, okay. So, biggest area where I could improve is probably braking. I think that
In what way?
I probably over brake.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably pretty common, right?
Mhm.
But braking is it's the art of braking. Really,
Yeah.
You don't just put your foot on the pedal and take your foot off the pedal. It's not that simple. So I think I could become smoother and probably later. I could probably brake later.
Okay. And what are you good at?
I'm really good at I guess I don't know. I guess I'm really good at maintenance throttle.
Wow. You're aiming high there. Not uncomfortable at all, giving yourself a compliment. All right. Then what are you going to be working on this next year?
So I learned a lot this year. I learned a lot about driving the car to the limit and knowing when you were about to be over the limit. So I learned a lot about car control this year, and I really I'd like to work more on that because it really is fun to dance the car around the track right at the limit. And if you can do that for sustained periods of time, you're super fast. So that's the goal.
You know what the best part is, Tim?
What's that?
We are now only halfway done with the Fast and Furious Storytime questions. So you can come back on and still have more of these things.
Yeah.
We have so many of these. Some of them, I think we're getting rid of most of the good ones. The rest of them they're kind of funny, but I like them. Vicki hates them, but that's okay. Sir, we look forward to racing with you again.
Yeah, I can't wait. Good to see you guys.
Yes, Miss
Really
Vicki.
really nice to. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Miss Vicki will be taking over the primary NASA Great Lakes representative from the household.
Yeah.
Well, anything she needs, including a gold ratchet, we can provide.
It'll be good. I'm very
It'll be
excited.
a good time. It'll be fun to catch up with her. I'm sorry you're not going to make it out there. Maybe 1 or 2 times, maybe.
I'll be out there a
Yes.
couple of times. It's just
Yes.
we got to figure out, Mia hasn't been on track yet, so we don't know how much she's going to like it or not like it. So if she likes it, then you get all 3 of us.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, that's the key. Bring her to a NASA Great Lakes event.
She has to do 2 before she gets her license.
And
Okay.
a car clinic.
Yep.
And a car clinic.
She's got to do a road safety, not road safety. What do we call them?
Teen advanced driving awareness kind of thing.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
That'll be great. Can she drive a stick?
That's what, yeah, she's being trained on a stick.
Awesome. So yeah, bring her to a HPDE weekend or do one of those intros. That instead of the full on course, she can do a 1-day intro. She'll love it.
Yeah.
That's Chris Loznicki's program.
Yep. And she will. So,
right.
Mr. Fokine, always great talking to you.
It was always a pleasure. Thank you. I really enjoyed it tonight.
And if people want to contact you related to NASA TREC with Great Lakes, they would.
We have a Facebook page. It's NASA Great Lakes TREC Racing. And you could message me through that. We're happy to answer any of those questions and point you in the right direction if you need that. We are absolutely looking forward to next season. And Glenn and I will again be running the series. And it's going to be a great time.
And you and I, sir, we will be one lapping next year.
Yeah, let's figure it out.
I think we need to practice an endurance race before then.
Let's get it done.
All right,
Let's
that
get it
sounds
done.
like sounds like a plan.
So yeah, next let's do something early in the season.
Sounds like pit race.
All right.
Maybe we might even go with a different series for you, and you can try another endurance racing series.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we can do. We have a car. We just need to find one more driver, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have to twist too many people's arms.
No, I bet you wouldn't.
No, we'll see what we can do. Sir, have a great night.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Vicki. It's a real pleasure.